Welcome to the DVD, my name is Jon Santry. This is an introduction to kickboxing, so we're going to be examining all of your basic techniques right from ground zero up. Stance, footwork, weight shifting, a few of the basic techniques, and at the end hopefully some basic sparring drills to try and introduce a little aliveness into the training. The first thing we're going to start with is the basic stance. So, with the basic stance, essentially we're using a 45-degree stance. That's a staple throughout. There are slight differences and adaptations depending on the rules that you're fighting under. So, a couple of quick additions to the points already covered on the basic instructional that I think are important. The first one's in regard to the stance. So, I'm showing the sort of the basic 45-degree stance with your front foot turned at 12 and your back foot at 2. And I do discuss the sort of the freestyle karate or the more sort of technical point fighting boxing type of stance that you see a lot of ABA boxers use, and top professionals as well, like Floyd Mayweather and people like that. I'm not sort of talking that stance down at all. Anyone that has ever seen me fight knows that I use that stance all the time, personally. But it's a little bit like fighting with your hands down, which is also something that I will tell the beginner never, ever to do. But if you watch me fight, I fight with my hands low all the time. There are reasons, there are advantages to this. Obviously, if I've got my hands low, it opens up different striking possibilities. It makes certain shots harder to see. It makes what I'm going to throw less predictable. Obviously, the downside of that is that I haven't got my hands near my head for protection, So it's pros and cons. It's just a question really of walk before you can run. And I'm fully aware that there are fighters such as Stephen Thompson and Raymond Daniels, and I've trained with him, who in K1, full contact K1, kickboxing with the low kicks and the knees and everything, or in MMA, make that kind of freestyle karate footwork where essentially you turn very sideways on. So the advantages are, it offers up much less of a target. If you're talking about an MMA scenario, it makes it much harder for you to be taken down, but it does leave you open to the low kicks, the calf kicks and the thigh kicks. It takes a lot longer to turn your foot to a position where you can check a kick. So I'm not saying you're never going to do it or it's impossible. Of course it's possible. Just these tapes, I should say, are absolutely fundamental, designed for the person who has never done any kind of martial art training before. So as I said, walking before we fly, just sticking with the basic kind of recce style 45-degree stance to begin with, until we're a little bit more proficient. Standard sort of boxing stance, feet shoulder width apart, your back leg, your best leg, strongest side back would be an orthodox stance if you were left foot forward, a southpaw stance if you were right foot forward. That's the left-handed stance. The back leg, the back foot is pointing off the corner of the room on a 45-degree angle. The front foot is pointing forwards, although the boxers, pure boxers, do tend to turn this front foot in slightly. So your feet are kind of pointing both at the sort of 2 o'clock direction. The thinking behind this is that I'm turning my body more sideways on, I'm offering up less of a target, I'm also slightly more manoeuvrable with my front foot turned inwards, which is fine for boxing or pure American rules kickboxing with kicks above the waist only. As soon as you introduce low kicks, the game changes and the stance has to change accordingly. There's no way I'm going to be able to get my foot from here to here in order to block a low kick in time.
Also, if you start to talk about mixed martial arts, standing high and narrow is going to make it incredibly easy for somebody to take you down. As soon as low kicks are involved, we need to go to more sort of traditional karate or kickboxing stance with the front foot pointing straight forward. So we've got 12 and 2. Still maintaining a diagonal angle, a 45-degree angle between the heels. I never want to be stood in tandem this way with my heels in alignment, and I never want to be stood parallel this way. If I'm here, I'm on a tightrope, I'm badly off balance, and it's going to compromise my power and my manoeuvrability. If I'm here, square on, I've got no ability to shift weight, and again, I've got no ability to drive forwards or backwards as necessary. So, 45-degree stance, front foot at 12, back foot at 2. If I was adapting this to fight for MMA rules, the only real adaptation I'll make is I'll get slightly squarer and slightly lower. This is in order to be in a better position to better stop the takedown. This will compromise power slightly. If I'm standing higher, obviously I've got a little bit more drop down into my target, a little more gravity and a little more velocity on my side. That said, it's not going to compromise my power as much as if I'm getting taken down every 2 seconds and put on my back and I can't strike at all. So I will get a lot lower and squarer if shoot takedowns and the like are involved in the rules. Thank you.